Hello and welcome back to another video tutorial of Royce Academy. In this video tutorial I am going to discuss on a very important topic coming under the subject of or the chapter of neural control and coordination. Okay, a part of this chapter is also dealing into the chemical control and coordination, that is hormone signaling and all. Now we need to understand that we all of us we already know that the basic biological thing that how a neural how does the impulse or the electrical signal is very much essential, or it is very much essential or important to operate certain vital physiological functions in our body. Okay, we already know that the all the basics that the most of the biologists and most of us already know that all the biology students, most of us know that how the neural impulse is very much prevalent and very much pertaining in order to carry out a particular physiological function or a particular neural coordination or a neurological response. Okay, but we need to understand that how a neuron is functioning, how a neuron is functioning in order to transmit that particular impulse from one neuron to another neuron. Okay, so even if we know the basic that how the neural control and coordination is happening via the electrical stimuli or the electrical signal that is coming from the sudden stimulus or the sudden shock that is received from the external environment, or that is happening within the internal parts of a body. But we need to understand that how this electrical signal or the electrical impulse is being carried forward from the receptors which are receiving that external stimuli or the internal stimuli, that is the endogenous stimuli or the exogenous stimuli which are known as the external stimuli, how the receptor is receiving that and carrying that stimuli forward to the central nervous system, and the central nervous system is compiling or interpreting the feedback or response against this particular stimuli and sending it to the particular target organ, right? So as we know that the neurons are the structural and the basic structural and fundamental units of the nerve fibers. So let's see how the neuron is functioning in order to do this. Let's have a heading of this particular topic today. The heading is signal transduction via neurotransmitters. Okay. Signal transduction via the neurotransmitters. So this is what we are dealing with today. So what are these neurotransmitters basically? Neurotransmitters are nothing but the chemical messengers or the specialized type of the hormones which are functioning, which are playing the major role or the significant role in order to manifest this operation or bring about this operation, that is carrying the electrical signal or the impulse forward from one neuron to another, from the receptor directly to the central nervous system, that is the spinal cord and the brain. Okay, now we know that the neuron has basically two structures. These are the dendron and the axon. So this axon is the only body or the actual body which is helping in projecting this particular electrical impulse to another neuron. Let's see how it is happening. Okay, let us draw an axon terminal first. This is what an axon terminal looks like. Okay, and let us and this axon terminal, this is actually the head of the axon terminal. Okay, the polar region of the axon terminal from where the impulse is jumping, the trajectory of the impulse is jumping from one neuron to another. Now this axon terminal might project that particular electrical signal to another neuronal spine or dendritic spine, or it might be another axon terminal or axon head to which it is projecting. So for a convenience, let us take another axon head. Okay, and that axon head is particularly like this. Okay, so this is another axon head. Now how does this impulse travel here? Okay, let me show the all the different parts of this particular portion. Here two membranes are coming into action particularly or significantly. The first axon terminal or the axon head, the membrane that lies here is known as the presynaptic membrane. Okay, this one is known as the synaptic membrane. And similarly, another such membrane lies in this second most or subsequent axon head. This particular membrane is known as the postsynaptic membrane. Okay, this particular one is known as the postsynaptic membrane. Now, what happens in this case is, okay, so before going into the operation, the operative mechanism, that how the particular operation is happening in the course of its response, let me draw the other subsequent parts of this particular axon terminal or the axon head. Here, within this axon terminal lies innumerable numbers of mitochondria. Okay. These innumerable numbers of mitochondria are present within this axon terminal, which provides energy to this axon terminal for functioning properly in order to generate the functions, that is carrying forward the nerve impulse from one axon terminal to another axon terminal, or from one axon head or neuronal head to another neuronal head. Now, along with this mitochondria, let me name it, label this organelles. These are mitochondria. Okay, mitochondria. Now, along with this mitochondria, there is another significant cell organelle which is playing its role, significant role in this particular operation. These are known as the synaptic vesicles. Okay. These things are known as the synaptic vesicles. Each of these synaptic vesicles are containing almost about 3000 to 10,000 neurotransmitter molecules. As I said, that these neurotransmitters are the only significant molecules which are coming into the role play for this particular process, right? So here what happens is, these neurotransmitters, how does this neurotransmitter function? Let me label this particular cell organelles. These are known as the synaptic vesicles. Okay. Now, these synaptic vesicles, these are containing almost about 3000 to 10,000 neurotransmitter molecule. 3000 to 10,000 neurotransmitter molecules. And the diameter of the synaptic vesicles are almost about 50 nanometer. Okay, so just think that within this 50 nanometer diameter, the space that is present within the 50 nanometer of the synaptic vesicles, so many numbers of neurotransmitter molecules are being synthesized frequently in course of its action or time being. Now, this part here is one axon terminal. Axon terminal. Okay, and this part here is known as the presynaptic knob. Presynaptic knob. Okay, and this part also here is another axon head or axon terminal. Okay. another axon head or axon terminal. Now let's go into the operative mechanism or working principle, that how the process is happening here. At first, when a particular an external stimuli is being received by the receptor, which might be an external stimuli or exogenous stimuli, or which might be another internal stimuli or endogenous stimuli that is originated from within our body, from any organ, or from within an injury that is going within our body, or hemorrhage, what happens? The receptor which receives, which is in the receptor which is actually the first and foremost receptor which is receiving that particular stimulus, projects the stimulus or transmits the stimulus to the first and foremost nerve fiber unit that is in contact with the receptor. Okay, so let us draw the first and foremost stimulus here. Okay, let it be the first and foremost stimulus. Okay, this is the electrical impulse or stimulus. This is what it is. Now this electrical impulse or stimulus would create a sudden wave of depolarization or a sudden shock of depolarization. So what is the depolarization? Depolarization is nothing but that stimulus would create the crowding or density or concentration of positive charges within the axon terminal. How? That this particular sudden shock or the electrical stimulus or impulse would open the voltage gated ion channels of calcium double positive ions. Okay, it would open the voltage gated ion channels of the calcium double positive ions, and thus what will happen, that calcium double positive ions, Ca2 plus ions, which are present in the external environment or the extracellular matrix outside the axon, outside the axon terminal, okay, outside the nerve fiber, these Ca2 plus ions will gradually enter into the synaptic vesicle. Enter into the, not the synaptic vesicle, sorry, enter into the axon terminal. Okay, the space between the portion that is present in the axon terminal, in this cytosolic portion. Okay, the cytoplasmic portion that is present within the axon, the space of the axon. Now, when the Ca2 plus ions are once crowding inside the axon terminal, the Ca2 plus ions crowding are increasing, then the excess overcrowding of the Ca2 plus ions within the axon terminal would create pressure on what? Pressure on the endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, it would help creating pressure over the endoplasmic reticulum, and that endoplasmic reticulum, due to the built up of increase of the pressure, it would help in releasing the Ca2 plus ions, because endoplasmic reticulum itself is a reservoir of the Ca2 plus ion. It will help release more Ca2 plus ion, which will overcrowd this axon terminal head. And now, as soon as the concentration or the density of the Ca2 plus ions are increasing, the amount of depolarization, that is the inside of this presynaptic membrane within the axon terminal, it is becoming too much positive charge. Now, when too much positive charge is increasing within the axon terminal head, this overcrowded Ca2 plus ions would create pressure on this synaptic vesicles. And now, when the synaptic vesicles are receiving those pressure from the excess depolarized condition of the axon terminal, it would release the neurotransmitter molecules. It would release the neurotransmitter molecules into between the region, or between the in the gap between the two synaptic heads, or the two synaptic heads or the axon heads. Okay, between the two synaptic membranes. This particular portion here, okay, This is known as the synaptic cleft. Synaptic cleft, which is almost 10 to 20 nanometer in the length or in the gap. Okay. Now what happens? The neurotransmitter molecule, once they are released in the synaptic cleft within the gap between the presynaptic and postsynaptic membrane, these molecules would get seated by the or acquired by the receptors present in the postsynaptic membrane. Okay, these molecules will gradually be acquired or seated by the receptors of the postsynaptic membrane. Now once these neurotransmitters get seated on the subsequent axon head on the receptors of present, that is neurotransmitter receptors that are present within the axon head of the subsequent axon. Let me name this, label this as neurotransmitter receptors. Neurotransmitter receptors. Okay, so this is what it is. These are the neurotransmitter receptors. Now once the neurotransmitters are acquired by the neurotransmitter receptors that are present on the postsynaptic membrane of the subsequent axon head or subsequent other nerve unit, then these neurotransmitters would help in generating or opening the voltage gated ion channel of the sodium positive ions. Okay, it would help in opening the sodium positive ions. And due to the opening of these voltage gated sodium positive ions, all the sodium positive ions or the Na plus ions present outside, Na plus ions present outside in the extracellular space would then enter into the cytosolic portion or within the space of the axon head, inside the cell, within the intracellular space of the subsequent axon or this axon, within the intracellular portion, like it was happening for with the stimulatory axon or the first axon. The same thing was happening for the Ca2 plus ion, for this axon, first axon, and for the subsequent axon, which is the receiver of the stimuli, which is relaying the stimuli in order to transmit it to another subsequent or another forthcoming axon or forthcoming neuron. This axon here is acting as the receptor or the receiver for this particular transmitting axon or the projectory axon, which is projecting the electrical impulse via the neurotransmitters into this axon, subsequent axon head or the second axon head. And now the receptors which receive the neurotransmitters present on the postsynaptic membrane of this particular axon, those receptors, after receiving the neurotransmitter, they would generate another wave of depolarization for this particular axon, and that wave of depolarization or sudden shock of depolarization would help open this sodium positive voltage gated ion channels, which will let entry of the sodium positive ions into the intracellular space of this particular axon head, that is the subsequent axon head, and this would create again the depolarization or positive charge density uprise within the intracellular space of the subsequent axon head, and that would generate that would help in continuing or generating the electrical impulse for the next axon, that is the axon that is attached with this one, the third one or the subsequent axon. Like this, it will go on creating the wave of depolarization naturally, and this process will continue throughout the entire afferent or the sensory nerve fiber until it reaches the central nervous system, the interneurons, okay, present within the white matter and the grey matter, whatever it is, with the brain and the spinal cord, until it reaches the central nervous system. The process will entirely continue. So this would create cumulatively the continuous, this particular thing here is also the impulse. Okay, this one and this one are the same. And always remember, the intensity of the impulse that came from this projecting axon terminal would be equal to the intensity of the impulse that is traveling through the subsequent axon terminal. Because if the impulse is being, the electrical signal is being misinterpreted, or it is being, the potential difference is being missed, the voltage gates are being missed, then the intensity, the fluctuation of the intensity would result in the flux, abnormal flux of this sodium positive ions or the Ca2 plus ions, which would result in abnormal relay of the signal that would result in the neuroparalysis. That might result in the neuroparalysis or some abnormal syndromes, diseases, neuromuscular degenerative diseases and all. Okay, or neural disorders and all. Now another thing is, once this neurotransmitter, suppose let this neurotransmitter here be acetylcholine. Okay, the neurotransmitter which is functioning here, let it be the acetylcholine. Let us consider, or let us suppose that the neurotransmitter which is functioning here is acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is the neurotransmitter. Now once this acetylcholine neurotransmitter is being received by the postsynaptic membrane, remember always that the entire quantity of the neurotransmitter, those are released from all the synaptic vesicles of this first axon, are not utilized to generate the same intensity of impulse in the second axon. Why? Because if the too much acetylcholine is triggering the receptor and the voltage gated ion channels of the second axon subsequently, then there will be an overproduction of the impulse, which would result in again abnormal flux generation. That is not possible. Now if the overproduction of the impulse is to be inhibited, an enzyme known as acetylcholinesterase. Okay, the name of the enzyme is acetylcholinesterase. This particular enzyme helps in breaking down this acetylcholine into acetate plus choline. Okay, so the excess acetylcholine that is coming out from this axon, first axon, gets broken down into these two byproducts. And now this acetate and choline, again with the help of neurotransmitter pump, with the help of, let me draw a neurotransmitter pump here, with the help of this neurotransmitter pump, okay, it again, this acetate and the choline, both of these travels in the reverse direction and enters into this first synaptic intracellular space of the projecting or stimulatory synapse, stimulatory axon terminal, or the first axon terminal. Okay, the acetate and choline will travel back into this particular axon terminal, and they will again combine with each other to form the acetylcholine, to form this acetylcholine molecule, and get stored within the synaptic vesicles like it was present previously, and that would help in generating the further upcoming or further incoming electrical signal or electrical impulse. So it, at the same time, when the process is having an agonistic effect means it is having a post-transductional effect to carry the signal forward. At the same time, it is the same thing, due to the action of this acetylcholinesterase enzyme is having an antagonistic effect. that is, it is preventing or inhibiting excess signal transduction in order to prevent abnormal flux generation or abnormal potential gradient formation that might lead to certain neuromuscular excitability, okay, or certain syndrome of the neural condition, neural syndrome or neural ailments or diseases, okay, which is not benevolent for the normal physiological functioning, that might disrupt the normal neuronal balance or neuromuscular excitability, okay, and that might lead to certain dreadful conditions or diseases. So in that case, you see that acetylcholine is being broken down to acetylcholine in presence of acetylcholinesterase, which is again traveling back here in order to recontinue further process or for the entire process, in order to recontinue this entire operation again. Okay. So this is what all about how the signal transduction is happening via the neural transmitters or neurotransmitters, which are nothing but the chemical messenger molecules, which helps in carrying the signal forward in order to manifest that, and also at the same time checks or inhibits excess signal transduction so that any dreadful neuromuscular disease or ailment might not happen, any hyperexcitability of the neuron or any kind of syndrome or illness generated from the nerve excitability or neural degeneration might not happen, or signal misfiring might not happen. Okay, so that might lead to central nervous system disorder certainly. Okay, so this is how all about the signal transduction via the neurotransmitter happens within the human body. Okay, so if you like this video, subscribe my channel positively and share the video as much as possible. Also hit the like button and comment down in the comment section below. Thank you.